thick of October. Technically, I have 4 books left on my TBR, but I took Foxglove and I moved it to November, so I'm like just gonna push it back to November, just because I don't think I'm going to have time to get to it, because like I said, we're at the end of October. Technically had 4 books on my TBR, and the author of the Belladonna series put out that there was something up with the audiobook for Wisteria anyway. So I might just read Wisteria in in December instead of November. Maybe that issue would be fixed. Because since I'm visually impaired, I like to have the audiobook on hand, and plus like I'm just busy in general. I feel like there's not enough hours ever in the day. I like to have the audiobook on hand, so that I can read a few chapters and then listen to a couple chapters and read a few more chapters, listen to a couple more chapters. It just makes the experience, I don't know, like more enjoyable for me. I really love audiobooks. Always have. Like I listen to them while I'm cleaning, while I'm walking, just at any point in time. So I want to have the audiobook for Wisteria, which is the 3rd book in the Belladonna series. Foxglove is the 2nd book, if you don't know. And yeah, so I figure pushing that back makes the most sense if I'm going to like take a book off of the TBR. So that leaves us with Bride, Filthy Rich Vampire book 1, and Gothicana. And I'm going to basically try to lock in. Oh Lord, I can't believe I just said that. But I'm basically gonna try to lock in and finish those books. Start Gothicana, because I haven't even started it. I've barely started Bride. I read the prologue yesterday. I'm about 30 chapters out of 50. 30, yeah, because I finished chapter 30 last night. 30 chapters out of 50 of the way through Filthy Rich Vampire. So that one I'm definitely gonna finish this week in this vlog. I'm challenging myself to do that. Side note, I love this little sponge. I love these little sponge things that you saw me haul in my latest video. I don't know, I feel like my powder application is a lot more even and a little bit faster. And I have oily skin, so I feel like I get less oily throughout the day when I use this. Okay, I'm gonna finish getting ready for work, and I will check back in when I have an update. So first of all, the weather was perfect for a fall reading vlog. I started off finishing up Filthy Rich Vampire, which I had started last month, but I didn't get too far. I really enjoyed this one. I gave it 5 stars. And then after that, I started reading Bride by Ali Hazelwood. And my Alloy box showed up, and this was the October one, so everything was all spooky season themed. I loved everything that I got in this October box, and it got me kind of excited to read more and to read some books that had been on my radar. The selection for this month was Immortal Dark, and I had never heard of this before, but from what I've read about it since getting it in the Alcrate box, it sounds like a really cool story, and I'm actually excited to read it. Don't know when I will actually get to it, but this edition is so beautiful and I am intrigued. So back to this reading vlog. Bride, I ended up loving and enjoying. It kind of gave me Twilight vibes. It was very, very nostalgic for me to read, but it was its own thing too. I loved how Ali Hazelwood continued her niche of women in STEM with our main character, Misery. I really loved the characters so much, and the plot didn't leave me hanging either. If you don't know what this book's about, it's about a treaty between werewolves and vampires that is secured by a marriage. Misery is like vampire royalty, and Lo is the alpha of his pack, and so they're getting married to secure peace between their two species. There's also a mystery going on that I really enjoyed as well. So I am a little bit over halfway through Bride, and Allie Hazelwood is so funny. Like, I've only ever read one other book by her. I read Check and Mate, and I loved it so much. I love the storyline and the characters. Same thing with Bride, loving the storyline and the characters. But what's really making the book for me is the humor. In this book, it could come across as really cliche, right? Because it's a werewolf vampire romance. It's giving very much 2010, but I don't know, like, it's not, it feels fresh. Like, she's putting her Allie Hazelwood twist on it, and it's feeling like something new. And I love how she's taken lore that's been done 1,000 times before, and she's making it her own. And I'm just really enjoying it. My favorite character is, what is her name? Anna. My favorite character is Anna, who is Lo, the alpha wolf that Misery, our vampire female main character in the story, is in an arranged marriage with. So Anna is Lo's little sister, and she is so adorable and so funny. And yeah, I'm a sucker for kids and books anyway, and especially when they're done right. So yeah, I'm really enjoying this. I'm enjoying this a lot more than I thought I was. It was kind of slow in the very beginning, but it picked up pretty fast. And yeah, I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying the little mystery that we're solving along the way. And yeah, that's my update so far. Pleasantly surprised. And so the last book that I technically read in October is Gothicana. I say technically because I didn't quite finish this one. And this is actually footage from Halloween night. But I got a little bit of the way through it, and I am intrigued, so it's definitely going to be in my November reads. This is a dark academia romance about a girl who gets accepted into this elite university for kids with interesting backgrounds. There's a murder mystery happening there, and she solves it and falls in love, I'm assuming, is the premise of this. They're already at the falling in love part, where I am in the book, but we've yet to see if the mystery is going to be solved. I got this like cute little silicone mold with these spider web like etching in it, and I baked some cinnamon little cakes. I made myself a little boo basket, just because. I got me some body oil, some face mist, a few face masks, some of these sour cream and onion like crispy chips. These are so freaking good. Some Boom Chicka Pop, some regular popcorn. And yeah, I just ended up watching Velma and Courage the Cowardly Dog and It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, and stuff like that. These are how my little cakes turned out. They were really good. So I thought I'd end this video talking about the 5 books that I read in October, since this video started off with me trying to finish my October TBR. I did not end up finishing my October TBR, but the 5 books that I read in October were all 5-star reads. So I thought I'd just talk to you about what I read in October. Starting off strong, Killer Instinct was the first book I read in October, I believe. It's the second book in the Naturals series. We're following Cassie and the rest of the kids in the Naturals program as they are trying to solve a series of murders that are eerily similar to murders that were committed in the past. This one is a roller coaster ride. Everything that started off in the first book with the love triangle kind of comes to a head in this one. Also, we get more background on Dean and his life, and Dean is my favorite character in this series pretty much, so I was loving this. I loved like seeing the kids in the program get more involved in a case, and I loved this book. It was so good. 5 stars, obviously. Then I read After the Forest. I'm trying to keep it in order, but I'm not entirely sure because sometimes I'm reading 2 or 3 books at a time. but I read After the Forest. This is a Hansel and Gretel sort of reimagining with a little bit of Snow White and Rose Red mixed in with a different storyline that's going on sort of in the background, but both the storylines kind of merge at the end, which I really enjoyed. Our main character, Margareta, she is living in this town that has like this prejudice against witches. It's weird. It's like, it feels part historical fiction, part fantasy. They are on the heels of a war. Her best friend comes back to town, and then this series of grisly attacks begin to happen in the woods. Greta is sort of ostracized for her red hair. Everybody kind of thinks she's a witch, like strange things sort of happen when she's around. Her and her brother were involved in this incident in the woods where an old woman was killed, and that stigma has kind of just followed her whole life. There is a mysterious newcomer in town, and lots of things occur. A mystery needs to be solved, a name needs to be cleared, and it's just a fun fairy tale ride, honestly, with like kind of some darker undertones. It feels like a more mature retelling of a classic fairy tale, and I really enjoyed it. I loved so many of the quotes in here. I loved the character development that Greta goes through, and even her brother Hans, and the plot was super interesting. It kept me guessing. It felt like a mix between a cozy fantasy and a darker, more grim retelling, kind of closer to like the original Grimm fairy tale stories. So I really enjoy this. Highly recommend it, and it's very autumnal, very a good one to pick up in the month of November if you've never read it. I then read Bride by Ali Hazelwood, and I love this. It just made my heart so happy. It just awakened all the feels from a former Twilight fan. I'm still a Twilight fan, but you know, I was there the first time the Twilight mania like swept the world, and this is a story about a marriage of necessity, I guess, between vampires and werewolves. Misery is sort of vampire royalty. Her father's the leader of the vampire council, and he really sucks. And Lo is the alpha of the wolf pack, and so they have to marry. They end up finding out that there's more to their marriage than just necessity, and they also end up solving a mystery, and I really loved it. It was really cool. I love the twists and turns in it. Highly recommend it if you like vampire romances or werewolf romances. It really did combine the best of both worlds, and yeah, I really liked that. So 5 stars, obviously. And then the next book I read, this one I actually read at the beginning of the month, sorry. The Only One Left by Riley Sager. Really love this, and I've only read 2 books by Riley Sager at this point, but I really like his writing. I love how he does thriller. There were so many twists in this one. Some of them I really didn't catch on many of these, honestly. I caught maybe like 2 out of the 5 twists, which I like. I like when a thriller keeps me on the edge of my seat and keeps me guessing. And this one kind of draws inspiration from like the Lizzie Borden murders. It's a situation like that. Our main character is a caregiver, and she is tasked with caring for a woman who is suspected of murdering her whole family, like in her teens. And so now the lady's old and she needs someone to care for her. She's had like some health issues that have left her unable to communicate and mostly immobile. And so when she gets to the house to care for the lady, it's just a weird environment and lots of crazy stuff starts to happen. It's a thriller, so but there's also a mystery going on, so it's, I guess, a mystery thriller. There's a mystery in the midst of this thriller that has an ending I never saw coming, and I truly enjoyed this. It's one of those that I'm gonna be going back to over and over again, I can already tell. And then the last book that I read this month and completed, because I started reading Gothicana, which I really liked, but I didn't complete it. And I'm going to complete that one in November, so that's gonna be the first book of my November TBR. But the last book that I read and completed was Filthy Rich Vampire. This tells the story of an artist. I believe she's a cellist. So struggling musician. She's in college, Thea, and she crosses paths with a vampire at like this vampire social gathering, and she meets Julian, who is again vampire royalty. He is expected to marry, it gives kind of Bridgerton feels, honestly, but he's expected to marry a witch, or as I call them in this world, a familiar, to strengthen his family magic and continue on the bloodline, because regular humans and vampires can't procreate. So the whole point of the rites, are they calling them? I don't know. The whole point of like these courtship events is for them to match up and find someone to procreate with. But he is like instantly drawn to Thea. They're instantly drawn to each other, and she sort of gets swept up in his world. And it's the start of a series, and I will definitely be continuing the series because I gave this book 5 stars. That's gonna complete this video. That's gonna complete my wrap up of October. I had like a really good reading month, and though I didn't read a lot of books, every book I read I loved, and I would take that any day over reading like 10 books that I just kind of felt indifferent about. So yeah, let me know if you've read any of these books. Let me know what else should be on my November TBR besides Gothicana, and I'll catch you in my next one. Bye.